Welcome back, everyone, to potentially the most anticipated matchup of the tournament. This year's OWC has gone pretty much chalk to qualifier results, with not only the top 6, but the top 4 being entirely a perfect match for the qualifiers results. Now we're here for the last match of the finals weekend to see if the grand finals weekend, at least to start, is also a chalk match to the qualifiers results. It's Poland versus the United States, the USA, coming off a loss last year, second place finish for them, the first time since 2017 when they last lost to Poland. I'm Dio, I'm joined by this one guy for the winners finals match in OWC 2025. Welcome in. Also, happy birthday, TNG.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Glad to be here. Last year grand finals on my birthday, this year winners finals on my birthday, and hoping to have this one live up to the hype in much the same way last year's grands did. Man, I am excited for this one.
Yeah, very excited for this match. As said, this is a matchup that's got a little bit of history behind it. Poland, one of only 2 teams in the last 10 years to take down the United States in grand finals and beat them twice in the same tournament. First in winners finals in 2017, second in bracket reset 2017. The United States since then, of course, has won almost every grand finals thereafter, except last year in 2024, where they lost again for the first time in 7 years to South Korea. Poland this time kind of feels like they have all the pieces of Exodia, right? They have Malashevsky back on the roster performing well. They have Milosh, who has been popping off all tournament long. Nahus, who has looked good, very, very good, in a lot of community tournaments throughout the rest of the year. A lot of other players stepping up, like Kosturek in particular. Some new rookies like Have, who are looking really good. And this time around, unlike in 2023, when it also felt like they had a really, really solid team and a good chance of winning when they were second seed in 2023, no early stage losses like that loss to Australia in the winners quarterfinals in 2023. So Poland now here in the winners finals, looking to make good on what is potentially a once in a very long time opportunity to take down the United States once again. Hidden 2, the first ban from Poland, and a Nomad 1 and Nomad 2 double banned from the United States.
It's a really interesting sort of history we've seen right over the last decade of OWC. It's been a lot of teams trying to put together pieces of a puzzle to defeat the United States, which has proven to be a very challenging task. Poland, the last ones to do it, and it was like power of friendship. Back in 2017, it felt like they just did something right, and nobody was quite sure how or why, but they managed to do it. And then 2024, of course, South Korea put together one of the greatest teams that OSU World Cup has literally ever seen, to finally, conquer their own demons. The United States having beaten them a couple of times in grand finals previously last year. And Poland adhering much to kind of that same recipe of just let's put together the best team on paper that we've ever had, and hope that works out. And man, they've looked so good over the course of this tournament. Like you said, avoiding that early defeat, in the quarterfinals. No, nothing like that happening this year. Taking care of business, getting the job done, and doing so in style. But man, you got to talk about the United States a little bit. Last week, right? Semifinals, 6-0 over the number 3 seed Australia. Top scored for the weekend, all 6 maps they played. It looked a lot like the United States teams that we've seen in the past in years like 2019, where they were so dominant. And that is going to be the big question of this match in particular, whether the USA can keep that up, whether this pool will scale to where their players might start to struggle just a little bit. And maybe you can have those crazy Malashevsky carries. We've already seen 2 matches really like that this weekend. Zudinator carrying Canada through against South Korea, and then Emrek doing unspeakable things to this map pool last night against that Canada team. So it's a very interesting stylistic matchup that we're going to be seeing here, and we have now gotten through those bans. It's Hidden 2 DT3 from Poland, Nomad 1, Nomad 2, as mentioned, from the United States. And that is an interesting approach because it leaves so many things open that I think both of these teams really want to play. All of the tech stuff, all of the gimmick stuff, both of these teams have proven very good at.
Yeah, exactly. And, you call out to some quote-unquote Malashevsky carry performance as well. Bit of deja vu for Canada with Malashevsky doing that to them last week already in the semifinals. So you're kind of expecting it to happen here a little bit versus the United States as well. Malashevsky, the number one performer last week by a really, really high margin. MREC setting some pretty high standards for that so far this week. Averaging 670k over 19 maps played in this pool, which is just an obscenely high average score. And we're going to start off with one of the highest star rating maps in the pool, and a map that I think a lot of people pegged as a Malashevsky pick as soon as it came on in the showcase, this DT4. Malashevsky not necessarily thought of as a DT player most of the time, but when it comes to DT alt, especially high AR, DT alt, or DT tech, he is one of the best in the world at that, and I think not really a surprise that we see Poland first pick into something like this, which is not only a really good map for Malashevsky, but also incredibly hard. We have seen a lot of teams really struggle to do well on this map. Case in point, the best score of the weekend so far is a 690k from MREC. And the average overall player score on this map is not even 500k on this pick. So this is quite a difficult map.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about before the match about different picks that these two teams might go into, whether they were maps that they might like kind of handshake and dare each other to pick or avoid. And I think DT4 was one where if it got left up, it did feel like a map that would end up getting played for that exact reason. You've got this Polish roster that has Malashevsky, and you say, hey man, you're the best player in this match of the 16 players across these two teams. We're going to rely on you. We're going to pick these skill cap maps that work into your specialties. And I am excited to see this as a first pick in this matchup. I'm very curious as well. With the scores being a little bit lower on average, that is something that I feel has historically been good for the United States, because their third and fourth players are typically going to be better than the third and fourth players of most teams that they're going to face. However, this Poland roster, I don't think is going to suffer the same way that many other teams might. That's why they're here in the winner's bracket final after all. And so their depth pieces may just well be as good as the United States' depth pieces. So very interested in how this one goes and what direction we end up taking afterward. But this is a super cool place to start off this match, man.
Yeah, you put it well. There's not much more to say on it. The USA with roster depth, that's always been their biggest strength. Never any one solo carry player, versus now Poland, a team that you really looked at before the tournament, and these three players, Koibumi 2000, also known as Milosh, and that's probably how we're going to refer to him for most of this match. So not putting on Koibumi 2000 on the radio every single time we see his name here. Milosh, Nahus, and Malashevsky, a lot of people saw these three players for Poland and said, yeah, this is the year for them to win. So it really has to come down to how well that core three for them performs versus the United States. You're looking, like you said, Aaron, at roster depth, at a lot of people being able to play stuff reasonably well, despite it being the hardest pool of the tournament so far. Early days, very, very early break for Milosh, early break for Malashevsky, early break for Window Life as well on the United States, but a slight score lead pretty much for nobody. It's just flickering back and forth right now, ever so slightly in favor of the United States, but Rektigon and Window Life also finding these misses about a quarter of the way into the map. There goes Nahus as well, Dekaten to trade. Suddenly it's just Pez for the United States, and Kosierek, the only FC remaining for Poland, but big combo on both Milosh and Malashevsky to back up that FC, and the score lead to follow in their favor. Pez, Kosierek, Malashevsky, Dekaten all go down on that pattern. Milosh also misses, and now 80k for Poland, but so little combo anywhere. 200 for Nahus, 300 for Rektigon, and that's it.
Yeah, the Rektigon combo is going to be the big one to watch for the U.S. against that Nahus combo. I think Nahus is a player that we've been looking to see how he would respond to a couple of matches, maybe a little bit below what he's capable of, and living up to what we can anticipate of him, I think, now in this early goings, as Rektigon finds the break on that big combo, as does Pez, and now it's Nahus that you're watching with the big combo remaining into the last third, and that score lead is built out over 150k, but it's going to come back down. There's a triple reset from Poland. not a ton of combo for them anymore, as it's a full reset for Poland. They've fallen apart on this pick completely, as Pez, Window Life, and Decaton all continue to hold on into the last quarter of the map. Watch what the score lead might do. I see the break from Pez, we see the break from Rectagon. Decaton goes down as well, and with only Window Life left, the USA had the opportunity, but it looks like they're not going to be able to take advantage of it. Poland hanging on had built up that big lead, and that is what's going to have made the difference as we get to the ending here. Poland's going to open up with a very solid first pick, maybe a little dicey for just a bit, but ends up being a 200k win, and they will open things up 1-0. And look at that team score. It's 565, 566, 525, and just under 400k, or just under 500k, excuse me. Very, very solid team-wide performance from Poland, which is exactly what we were talking about, exactly what we need to see out of this team.
Yeah, the Polish roster of old used to be just the Malashevsky carry show, and definitely last week it looked like that kind of solo carry performance from him. But Poland, their core roster is what people looked to bring them the win this year, and helps them bring the win home on this first pick as well. United States not looking bad either. 420k there for, I believe it was Rectagon, Pez at 460k, and then both Window Life and Decaton above 500k as well. So not a particularly one-sided map, just one that Poland had a slightly more consistent overall team score on to start things off. And the United States going for some hidden right out of the gate. This has been the strategy for the United States through a lot of this tournament so far, is to pick into hidden and gimmick and rely especially on players like Ethantrix and Boshiman as a part of the core roster on their own picks to take these really tricky, gimmicky maps away from opponents. That said, against a Team Poland that has Malashevsky, Milosh on it, that's a really tough ask, because both of those, and Nahus as well, right? This core three for Poland is also a lot of really good hidden gimmick players. So this strategy now for the United States, they need to just be that good on it. They need to be the best team on it, because otherwise this strategy is not going to work in this match. And I think, T1G, this is a pretty important litmus test for how the rest of this match is going to go. If the United States are successful here, then I think we're going to have a very, very close match on our hands. And if the United States cannot find success here, they're going to have to pivot very quickly.
Yeah, you know, in terms of pick history throughout this tournament, United States, as you mentioned, has really opted into these gimmickier picks, whereas Poland has liked a lot of the mechanics picks. That being said, they overlap in this skill set regardless of what they may have actually been picking themselves to a pretty considerable degree. It opens up a lot of picks for the United States if they win this, especially if they win it convincingly. And as you said, the match gets very interesting in terms of pick strategy if the United States is not victorious on this pick. And, you know, the big name to look out for here, I think, you know, to a lot of people, including myself, is going to be Ethantrix. Came in for several maps last week, FC 2 of them, and it was, you know, these awkward, challenging reading picks, hidden picks, you know, kind of off-the-wall stuff, non-traditional mechanics. And he's an OWC rookie. This is his first ever OWC, much less his first ever OWC winners bracket final at that. And so if he can keep up the performance that he has had in previous weeks, it's going to be very key for the United States. But man, I'd be scared of this map against a team like Poland, especially with Malashevsky. We saw Emrek basically solo carry this pick last night, a 1-miss 98.5 accuracy. Malashevsky, one of the very few other players in the world who can put up a score like that, so we'll see, because I think he's going to need it if he can do the same thing today that Emrek did last night.
Well, see how this first pick for the United States shapes up. Talk about experience in winners finals. Basically, the only team with multiple players who have that experience is the United States. The only player on Poland with that experience is the one who was around for their win in 2017 in Rathus, actually. The only former OWC champion on their team, the only one with experience in that winners finals. Not in for this map, of course. Going to be looking to him more on the speed picks for this team. Instead, it's off to a pretty simple start for basically everybody. No early misses on this map whatsoever. as everyone's still comboing. 2 rookies for the United States as well. Caleb, Bracket C Bracket, also a rookie this year for them in for these hidden picks. Nahu's finding the first miss of anyone in the lobby. Have 1 player for Poland down, 1 player for the United States down as well. Caleb also finding that drop, and it's 3 FCs to 3. Nearly a third of the way into the map, and this has been an incredibly low-scoring map so far this weekend, so it's really surprising that we still have all these FCs. There goes Decaton now, there goes Milosh to follow, and suddenly it's 2-2. Taquito and Ethan Trix versus Malashevsky and Shari Tori, Evil Grape, in the bottom right for Poland, as more misses come through for Caleb, but Shari Tori also finds the drop, and it's just Malashevsky versus the double FC from Ethan and Taquito. He goes down, and suddenly it's 2v0 for the United States. Make it 1 as Taquito drops, but Ethan Trix, the star rookie for the United States, manages to hold on to the FC.
Ethan Trix is on the craziest arc this year that we have maybe ever seen from a rookie. He's up there among the legendary first-year OWC performances that we've ever seen. The plays he's set, is he going to make it through the circle stream? Of course not. That would have been too much to ask, right? But he got that far with an FC, which is absolutely incredible. And now you have Decaton matching Nahus. You have a 180k score advantage for the United States. And we're going to be coming into some of the absolute most crazy patterning you will ever see. And that gets interesting all of a sudden. That's a break from Decaton while Nahus continues to hold. You have Shari Tori and Malashevsky continuing. They both break. There goes Nahus as well. Yeah, this ending is just a little bit too much to ask with multiple combos on your side, and with really no combo anywhere, that should just do it. And watch what this ending does. The back and forth, the wiggles, the spaced flow patterns. I mean, you're not seeing many people hitting much of this, and for good reason, but the United States damage had been done. Ethan Trix putting up a 575k to top score the United States, as he's done time and time again on maps that he is in for, top scoring the lobby. The OWC rookie does it yet again, and we're tied up 1-1 just like that. USA getting what they needed out of their first pick.
And TONG, I've got a fun stat that I want to kind of track throughout the rest of this match. Poland on their first pick, top scored DT4 on the weekend. United States, on their first pick, top scored Hidden 3 of the weekend. So far, 2 for 2 on top scores of the weekend for the winning teams on this match. Let's see if they can keep up top scoring literally every map in this match, because so far, 2 for 2. It's early on, but kind of a fun stat that I want to track, because this is a matchup of 2 behemoths, right? These teams are just ridiculously strong. Poland 6-1 over Canada last week. United States 6-0 over Australia last week. USA top scoring literally every map they played. It's not out of the realm of possibility for this to actually be both of these teams top scoring all of their own wins over the course of the entire weekend in order to win a match.
They've separated themselves over the course of this tournament. I mean, the scores from last week are indicative enough, I think, on their own of just how good these 2 teams are. I know the expectations were through the sky for both of these rosters, and they've lived up to them, and they look to continue doing so. And that is a hidden 1 pick from Poland. If you're going to pick any of the 3 hiddens as this Poland roster into this United States roster, it would be this one. It is just non-stop awkward aim for 4 minutes, and we've seen some pretty crazy things. Of course, we saw Zudinator FCing this on Friday night, Saturday morning. We saw Emrek nearly FCing this last night. Who's going to be the hero of it this time?
Yeah, this has been a pretty high-scoring map overall, right? This hidden 1 has seen, as you said, an FC and a near FC from Zudinator and Emrek, respectively, and has 4 team scores over 2 million on it, which, just for context, most maps have a average score under 500k for this weekend, with something like Hidden 3 having an under 400k average score before that last map got played. So above 500k average score on this map means this is quite a high-scoring map for this map pool. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of pop-off we see and from whom. There's, I think, multiple players on this Polish roster, though, that you look at and you say, yeah, that guy could probably FC this map. I look at Malashevsky, whose aim is really, really underrated. It gets a bit overshadowed by his ability on things like tech maps and reading maps in particular, but his aim is really, really strong. You obviously have Nahus and Milosh, who are both in the top 10 global. You have to have ridiculous aim to get there, right? And then for the United States, a lot of these players are just really solid mechanics-wise. I'm definitely looking mostly at Rectigon and Ethan-Trix, though. Rectigon's aim in particular, not necessarily hidden aim, but aim in particular, very, very good. And Ethan-Trix has just kind of been on a roll. So looking at those two in particular for the United States, not that no one else can pop off on this map, but maybe the most likely candidates there.
Yeah, there have been years in the past where it felt like the United States kind of punted aim. It was often in previous years just not a skill set that they really tried to invest into. But I think over time, just with the development of players and the development of map pool metas and solo play meta for that matter, you just have to have good aim as a top player. So pretty much everyone will at least tangentially be able to play this skill set. And the question is, who's going to be the most consistent on it in this particular setting? Because this is 4 minutes and it is virtually non-stop, and the patterns just get and stay difficult. So you already see early breaks from multiple members. It's Kosirek, Taquito, Rectigon, Decaton. USA not feeling it in the intro here at all. It's going to give Poland a little bit of an early lead. I'm a little taken aback by the multiple misses in the intro before we've really gotten into kind of the meat of this map, but it does start up quite quickly. And Triple FC for Poland, lead going to be growing to 70k within 45 seconds on a pick this long. That's actually kind of meaningful.
Yeah, that is somewhat meaningful already. There's another miss from Kosirek on the side of Poland, but matched by Taquito, Malashevsky, Rectigon, Milosh all going down, and suddenly combo lead back the way of the United States. Ethan-Trix matching the FC from Nahus, albeit with worse accuracy, but Decaton on a big recovery combo, holding the reverse choke intact right now with that matching high accuracy to go with it. And the score coming back the way of the US pretty quickly now. You can see how substantial that 80k score lead was. It's only down to 40k despite this combo lead for the last 20-30 seconds now. And it's continuing to come back, but they need to hold for a while here if they want to hold on to this combo lead and bring the score lead back. And there goes Ethan-Trix. Nahus matches though, and now it's still just Decaton holding onto the combo lead for the United States. Nothing's really changed. The FCs are down, sure, but that just changes who needs to hold. It's Decaton now with that big combo. Milosh finding another break. Malashevsky and Kosirek are matching Taquito and Rectigon respectively, but as long as Decaton holds this combo, the United States are going to continue to build this score lead.
Oh my!
A wipe!
That was a lobby wipe. That was 7 of 8 players breaking, and Milosh had broken only about 60 combo before. So that's just a full reset, and exactly halfway through, we're just resetting this map, Dio. We just went back to the start and said, let's play this over, except it's only going to be half the length now, as the United States gets to start off with just a little bit of an advantage, 30k and change. But look, the break's still coming in. Kosirek, Nahus, Rectigon, Taquito falling. Ethan-Trix had fallen as well. You've got Milosh and Malashevsky trying to do what they can here. Decaton matches, roughly Malashevsky, but with a 25k score lead, it's virtually nothing with the combo where it is. We're watching carefully here. That Milosh combo huge because Decaton and Malashevsky are identical. How long can those 3 big combos hold, and what will the recoveries do as the score lead flickers over to Poland? But we get back into aim. We still have a quarter of this map to go. It feels never-ending for us. Imagine how it feels for the players in the lobby, as there goes Taquito, and that lead just going to grow a little bit, but Milosh to fall next. Dion, this is going to just sit on a knife's edge until the very last second, isn't it?
Pretty much, and there's some really, really tough patterns right before the end of this map. To the point that I think the poolers weren't really expecting many FCs on this with how big of a diff spike there is right before the end of this map. That's where it gets its 8-star rating here for the Hidden One. And we are approaching that mark pretty quickly. If somebody hits this and everyone else lobby wipes, we could see one person solo carry this through the most difficult section of the map. Everyone on the USA is down. Malashevsky's still holding. He finds the miss as well. And it's 25k, now 30k. in favor of Poland at the end of the map. Nobody to hit the most difficult section in the map here at the end of Hidden 1, but with no combo anywhere, and a 30k lead for Poland. Going to be yet another successful pick, 3 in a row to start things off, 2-1 for Poland. And a bit of sad news about our fun stat from before. No top score of the weekend here on this Hidden 1. We had some nearly 2.5 million team score from Canada on this, so not going to be the top score of the weekend. But, I mean, still, you're looking at... Funnily enough, we talk about depth being a power point for the United States in most of their matches, right? Especially into the later stages. You're looking at a lot of this score lead coming from the bottom players on Poland. 440k for Milosh, 413k for Kosirek is actually where a lot of that score lead is coming from for Team Poland on this map.
Yeah, what even surprises me more about that particular insight on that map is the bottom 2 scorers were Taquito and Rectagon, who are not players you really anticipate to see bottom scoring an aimy hidden pick. You mentioned Rectagon being so good at aim in general, Taquito so good at hidden. You have a hard time imagining that those would be the ones causing the USA to lag just a little bit behind, but also speaks a bit to the difficulty of that particular pick. And United States now down 2-1. Own pick to come is going to be the Nomad 5, which I think we could kind of anticipate. First picked into the Hidden 3, very gimmicky sort of reading-y map there, and into the Nomad 5, which is even more so, of course. A little AR8 KT-G-ster. You've got stacks, you've got snaps, you've got overlaps. This is a pretty classic KT-G-ster aim pick in this pool, and it's the type of thing that I think the United States has really liked this whole tournament, built their roster at least partially around these types of picks, and it's gone well for them so far. See if they can continue keeping up that trend.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on kind of some of the difficulty aspects of this map, because yeah, it's a lot of aim control in this map as well, but talking with some of the players, the perfect stack reading in this is really, really tricky. I know talking with some of the players on Canada, people have been making practice diffs and putting in literal hundreds of attempts on both the full map and some practice diffs just to get the hang of the perfect stacks in this map. So the stack reading in this is really a huge challenge. I think that's going to be a big defining factor of this. The aim control is certainly there as well, but at AR 7.7 with this kind of stack reading, it's going to be really, really tricky. That said, this is what the US has built a roster to do. You have Caleb, you have Boshyman, you have Ethantrix, and actually Pez, the last player on this map. Usually on a reading pick like this, I think most people would expect to see Taquito in, Pez coming in instead. For Poland, though, you have a couple of players on this team who are here really specifically just to play reading, especially Honeydip there in the top left corner is here specifically to play reading maps for Team Poland. Of course, alongside more of the core reading roster, Shari Tori, also known as Evil Grape, Milosh, also known as Koibumi 2000, and Malashevsky. Thank you, Malashevsky, for keeping the same username. I appreciate it.
And worth also noting when discussing the difficulty of this particular pick, this is at 100% pick rate for the weekend, and only one team has gone over a 2 million team score. So if that doesn't give you some sort of indication, and also mentioned that team score was almost 2.5 million. South Korea, what were you doing on this map? That was pretty crazy. So we'll see if either of these teams can live up to it. Look at the lead already, though, for Poland. Very, very early break from Have came out, but you have Bashi and Caleb falling for the United States, and of course the accuracy not looking great for Pez or Ethan, and Pez, in fact, will be the next to fall. You've got what amounts to almost a 4-way FC still for Poland going into 500 combo halfway through. The United States has 1 FC left, and look at that score lead. This is practically over already, and what we're seeing Poland doing to this map is unbelievable. They have a triple FC still going, almost up to 2 million with a third of the map still to come. They came prepared for this pick. I think they knew United States would want to pick this into them, and they said, we're going to be ready to go on this. We've got reading players. We've got aim players who can play this sort of snappy aim control at this lower AR, and we're going to show that off. This is an unbelievable score from Poland that they're putting up right now.
Yeah, this is going to be the top score of the weekend, and by a pretty wide margin, I think, with this double FC still going for Malashevsky and Milosh there on the bottom row. This is just absolutely absurd. They are completely demolishing this map. The top score of the weekend so far, for anyone wondering, was South Korea at just under 2.5 million team score. They're going to top score this with a double FC from Malashevsky and Milosh by over 600,000 team score. One miss for Milosh, actually. Unfortunate there. Didn't quite see if that was an ending choke or a reverse choke, but still absolutely ridiculous. It is a double FC after all, as Ethantrix finishes it out with that full combo. And honestly, can't blame the United States for picking this map. They got nearly 2.4 million, which is the second best team score by a huge margin over Australia. It's just that Poland, I think, kind of baited them into picking this. They banned out the Hidden 2, that other low AR reading map, left this open, knew the United States would want to pick into reading, and like you said, just came prepared for it, completely demolished not just the United States, but everyone else who played that map, 100% pick rate over the entire weekend. And now, looking to go up to 4-1 after consolidating that breakpoint at once into the Fremod 4, custom mapped by Xerius.
And this is the logical continuation of what we've seen in the last couple of picks, right? Poland picks the Hidden 1, wins it, gets the Nomad 5 picked into them, win that. Okay, what's our next pick? Well, we've got a Fremod 4 that is snap alt aim, and we can have a hidden player on it. We can have a couple Nomad players on it. This one's super challenging with Hard Rock. But the way that Poland is looking on these last couple of aim-favored picks, this makes a lot of sense to opt into next and feels like a skill set that they may just have an advantage on in this match. It's not a huge sample size of only a couple of picks, but it is enough to go on in this setting. And you mentioned, trying to consolidate this to go up that 4-1. 4-1 looks like a bigger lead than it actually is, since it's only one break point. It just has that advantage of having the first pick in the match. But the mental side of things, getting that buff of being up 4-1, feeling like, okay, we got a couple picks in hand here, is a really good spot to be in. I know both these teams have really good team-wide mental. A lot of experience in tournaments in general, won't be too swayed one way or another, but every little advantage you can glean, you're going to be good with, especially in this sort of setting. This is, I think, a really huge pick. I know we're still pretty early on in the match, but this already feels like a pretty big pick. If Poland can consolidate and get that 4-1 lead, they're going to be kind of in the driver's seat and looking like the team with all the momentum in the match.
See if they can keep that momentum rolling here. United States really hoping to pull back a break point after that loss on the Nomad 5. Double hidden for the US, although it's on 2 hidden preference players, so kind of expect them to run that double hidden here with Ethantrix and Taquito on this map. Decaton taking the Hard Rock for them. No Rectigon this time around. It's going to be Pez coming in to fill out the roster for them. Early miss for a couple of players here. Decaton very early on for the United States. And then Sharitori and Nahus there on the top row for Poland. Milosh actually also missing right at the beginning of the map. Decaton missing once again. So combos have been reset kind of all over the place, but if you take everything at once, it's roughly even combo for both of these teams. Another miss there for Decaton is going to give the combo lead over to Poland. Hidden on Nahus, Hard Rock on Milosh, Nomad for Sharitori and Malashevsky into the first Ki time now, and into that first more difficult section of the map with tons of super high BPM aim control in this pick.
That aim control working well so far for Poland. The essentially double FC, almost triple FC. They are going to see a couple more breaks from the United States. It's Pez and Ethan to fall. Taquito, the only FC left and the only meaningful combo on that side as well. Watch that score lead grow for Poland here. This map is so deceptively difficult, I feel, as there is the second meaningful break from Poland on Milosh. It looks like, oh, this is just some high BPM snap aim, kind of alt adjacent type of thing. But when you watch people playing it and the struggles that you see a lot of folks have, you realize that it is a little more challenging than you might have anticipated at first glance. And you can see players just kind of suffering a bit from it. Pez with a couple breaks, Ethantrix, Decayton with a couple breaks as well. It's a lot of weight on the shoulders of Taquito, the only FC on that side as Ethantrix falls again. Malashevsky, though, still holding the FC, and there goes Taquito. And it is fortunately a break from both. Oh my goodness, okay. It's Poland to three-way reset. Nahu, Shari, Tori, Milos all breaking. Decayton breaking as well as Pez. Really nothing to gain for the United States because guess who? It's Malashevsky, the star player that he is, holding the lone FC in the lobby, holding down this lead for Poland. The United States has no answer for him. The big question coming in, could Malashevsky carry for Poland against the depth of the United States? On this map, the answer is looking like it's going to be yes.
Yeah, a resounding yes at that, right? Still the only FC 1300 combo into the map. Everyone else has 300 or fewer combo across the entire lobby. And on a lot of the rest of the maps in this match, right, we saw, sure, Malashevsky FC'd the last map, but there was also the 951k one miss choke from Milos on that pick, right? Ethantrix also had the FC on that map. Sure, he top scored the hidden one for Poland, but not in the lobby. That was Decayton. Sure, had a really good score on the hidden 3, but the USA was able to win that map, right? Because there wasn't that kind of pop-off solo carry performance. DT4, 525k is good, but it's middle of the pack in this match. This is the first time that we've really seen Malashevsky stand out above the rest of the crowd as beyond a doubt the best play on a map. And that's, I think, what a lot of people were expecting to see very often in this match. And it is why Malashevsky is often referred to as one of the single best tournament players in the world, not just in OWC. That's a really sad miss at the end of the map. That is real unlucky, but not going to matter at all. 975k just about for Malashevsky on that free mod 4. And again, you're looking at one of the best tournament players in the world, full stop. Not just in OWC, not just in 4v4s, but regardless of the format. People fear this guy for a reason in open rank tournaments.
Malashevsky's just doing Malashevsky things, and I want to also point out, while we are saying all these great things about Poland and Malashevsky, the United States just got the worst score of the entire weekend on this map. That was the lowest score any team had set, and this is at 100% pick rate, so we've got as big of a sample size as we're going to get. And so this says to me a couple things about this match, and obviously we'll see how it continues on from here. But A, Malashevsky is doing what he needed to do, and Poland is doing what they needed to, and B, you can't expect what the United States did last week to be repeated this week, but it does feel like they've maybe just taken a little bit of a step back, a bit of regression toward the mean from this USA roster that had that unbelievable performance last week, not quite reaching those dizzying heights today, and they're going to need to summon up a little of whatever they found in the semis if they want to come back in this one now, because your pick strategy is getting more challenging by the minute as Poland continues to look so strong, and with Malashevsky looking so strong as well, already down that 4-1. You got to do a little bit of soul searching here for the United States to try to figure out what you're going to do to find both your own picks and somewhere a breakpoint as well. And the timeout says they need time to figure out what they want to do now that they've gone down this consolidated breakpoint and set a couple of not super great scores by their illustrious standards.
And they are going to take that timeout in order to kind of recalibrate here, right? Figure out what's going wrong. Yeah, we're just down one breakpoint, but this is a pretty important pick to get right. If you do lose this pick as the United States, you're now not down just the one breakpoint 4-2, but you're down 2 breakpoints 5-1, and suddenly you can lose this match 7-3, 7-2 if there's another breakpoint, right? So the United States, they really want to not give up this point, and further than that, they need to figure out what the pick strategy is going to be going into the rest of this match. Can you win on, instead of the aim control like we have seen go so well for Poland, can you win on speed instead? Can you win on something a little bit more tech-focused or just pure aim like the Hard Rocks, right? Or something more stream-focused like the Freemod 1. Where do you try to pivot towards as the United States? Because the reading didn't work, and that is the one breakpoint. And more than that, Poland has won on Hidden 1, which is, of course, Hidden Aim, sure. DT4, which is speed, finger control, aim control, and Freemod 4, which is aim control. There's a lot of that in this pool. You've got Nomad 3, you've got Nomad 4, you've got, to some extent, Hard Rock 3, Hard Rock 2 for sure in this pool, to some extent the Freemod 2 as well. So that's a lot of picks that look to be off limits right now for the United States. And I think figuring out what your chances are on the next kind of pool of maps is really important. They're going to go for Hard Rock 3, which, yes, is a little bit aim control, but mostly in terms of the flow aim and streams on this original song. Marmalade Butcher doing not just this original song for the OS World Cup Finals, but also 4 others, one for every mode World Cup. That includes Taiko World Cup, Catch World Cup, Mania 4K World Cup, and Mania 7K World Cup. So big shout out to Marmalade Butcher there. Aaron, this map is just really, really difficult flow aim streams at 180 BPM. With Hard Rock, though, I think the US has a lot of players who would love to play something like this.
And to me, this is another situation, I think, where, the question is going to be, will they perform at the level they need to, despite the fact that we know they have a lot of good Hard Rock players, a lot of good flow players? They looked good enough to win the Hidden 3, which bears certain similarities. Not a ton of them. I'm not going to make it out like they're the same map, but there are certain similarities. They won the Hidden 3 not by a gigantic margin. They did it by enough. They needed, a couple of really solid scores to do that. Can they feel a little bit more comfortable with this particular pick? This is one of the harder maps in the pool. So the question again to me, and I guess the question on just every map, is what kind of score is maybe a Malashevsky capable of? Can he make up the ground that you could feasibly see the United States taking? Or can they just get a good team-wide performance? I also, coming out of that timeout, right, a little bit of a mental reset after losing a couple of points in a row. Maybe that was just what the doctor ordered for the United States here. I'm a little surprised, I think, by this being their choice here. But, man, like you were saying, there's a lot of picks that feel in skill sets that Poland is going to be at worst competitive in against this U.S. roster. So where would you ever go? USA's been pretty good at Hard Rock over the course of the tournament, right? It's been a solid mod pool for them. But man, I'm just watching. I guess it just comes down to the fact that I'm just watching Malashevsky and seeing the things he's capable of and thinking, how does the United States beat that? What is the answer to that? And I don't know. Is Hard Rock 3 the question? I guess we'll find out in 3 minutes and 21 seconds, huh?
We will find out soon enough. We've got Milosh, Nahus, Malashevsky, and Kosturek in for Poland. Kind of the core 4 roster for this team. The United States, with an ever-shifting roster, Rectagon, Decaton, Taquito, and Window Life. Some familiar faces here for sure, especially on Hard Rock and Hard Rock streams. Rectagon, Decaton, Window Life, man, those 3 players you kind of expect to do super well. Taquito, though, I've watched him play a couple of the maps on this pool. He has looked really, really solid on just about everything. So I can never count out the United States captain as bad on any particular map.
Almost underrated on Hard Rock, honestly. You see him come in for stuff and you think, oh, that's not hidden, that's not tech, that's not tapping. And you forget that he's really capable of playing just about anything that you throw his way.
Oh,
and
looking like everybody's capable so far. Only
yeah.
one early break for Nahus here at the start of the match. And nobody else finding any breaks, but we haven't gotten into any of the truly difficult patterning in this map yet. This is pretty tame as far as this Hard Rock 3 goes, and here's really the start of it. That slider catches Nahus once again, still the only player to have found any misses so far in this map, as everyone still on this 7-way lobby full combo.
Right as you say that, it's Taquito to fall, unfortunately, but that is just kind of the match. Still 3 FCs against 3. Score gap under 30k. It's practically meaningless, but this map continues to be incredibly challenging. You've got those little snaps, you've got those buzz sliders, the kick sliders, and everything else coming your way, and it's just Nahus and Taquito to trade a couple misses. There goes Rectagon and Milos to trade a miss. There goes Malashevsky. That could be meaningful. Let's see how long Decayton and Windowlife can maintain their 2 FCs. Kosirek doing everything he can to keep this in touch for Poland, but with the double FC in the United States, especially with Kosirek breaking, the United States now have a little bit of wiggle room. Windowlife does fall, but Decayton, who is always such a solid performer, almost goes overlooked a little bit from time to time because he's just good at so many things, but often isn't the standout performer on that team. Well, right now, he is the standout performer for them on this pick. Over 1,100 combo, absurd on this map. See if he can get through some more difficult patterning, but the United States now 150k to the good as he finally breaks. Some resets coming out. Watch for Malashevsky and Milos now.
Decayton saving the United States on this pick at the very least, pulling up with about 140k above the next best score on the team over that Windowlife score. And that's about the score lead, right? It's going back the way of Poland right now with some combo on Malashevsky and not too much combo basically anywhere else in this lobby. Nahus and Rectagon matching combos right now. Kosirek and Taquito matching breaks right now alongside Decayton. Another miss for him. Windowlife.
Oh, danger!
Combo. Wait, it's a full reset for Team United States, but the slider here at the end. Always forget about this good 30-second long slider here at the end of this Hard Rock 3. This map ends a little bit earlier than you might expect. And it's only going to be about 60k, but the United States will find success on this pick. Top score of the lobby, not to Decayton any longer, but to Malashevsky. And the proof's in the pudding there. It's still the Malashevsky carry show for Poland. The bottom 2 scores looking relatively similar. The top score looking similar, but Windowlife, that second best score, generating some score lead there for the United States. 590k over Milos's 511k there. And it just goes to show how closely matched these two teams are. Yes, even though the United States is winning that pick, it's only by so much. It's by very, very similar scores for each individual player across from their partner in the lobby.
It's the barest of margins, and it's 2 S ranks, by the way, just to shout those out. Malashevsky and Taquito both dropping the 0 misplays on that map. Pretty impressive stuff from those guys, but yeah, it is just the smallest differences. Any 2 players being separated by a big margin in the same lobby location can be the difference maker in this matchup. I mean, it's 61k there. It was, what, 30k back on Hidden 1, 150k back on Hidden 3. I mean, these maps, when you aren't seeing Poland doing ridiculous things like we saw in Fremont 4 previously, the other maps are coming pretty close. So and what I think about as well, we're 6 maps in plus 4 bans, so the pool is starting to, narrow down just that little bit. How many more picks are we going to see that are that close? Because the teams are not going to have their early planned picks of maps that they feel 100% confident in. And it's going to be the question to answer here, as Poland is going into a No-Mod 4 that is unbelievably difficult slider tech. And, well, it's Malashevsky's playground, but this map is so freaking hard for literally everyone, man. This is, again, I think, one where we might see some very close team scores across the board, top to bottom.
This one's another relatively difficult pick in this pool, that's for sure. I think it says a lot about this pool that, we talk about how difficult this map is. Well, I count 1, 2, 3 other picks that have a lower average score on this pool already than just this No-Mod 4. So yeah, maybe the 4th hardest score by average score, sure, but it's still really, really tricky. Just look at the patterns in this map once it gets started, and you'll see what we're talking about. 220 BPM speed tech here for this No-Mod 4. When you say speed tech, a lot of people think about, speed mechanics plus a little bit of tech. This is kind of the inverse, where it's a lot of tech plus a little bit of speed mechanics, a lot of aim mechanics in this map as well. And you just got to say it, right? Poland has Malashevsky. He's the best tech player probably in the world. Definitely the best tournament tech player in the world. That goes pretty much without question. It's what he's built his reputation on over the last half a decade of tournaments. It's what people fear him on the most. It's what, in a 1v1, you permaban against him if you're able to read low AR. And That's a big asset on a map like this that has such a low average score and such high carry potential for an individual player because of that.
Yep. You get into these late stages, we make a lot of discussion about carryable maps. These picks where you can where if you have a Malashevsky on your team, if you have an Emrek on your team, these maps are just so hard for 99% of players that if you have one of those 1% occupiers, you have such a big advantage on them. And this is definitely going to fall into that grouping. We do see Sedis coming in, I believe, for the first time in this match to join Milos and Nahus alongside Malashevsky. United States, it's a scary tech roster, man. Rectagon, Decayton, Windowlife, Taquito, all players who are good at tech, all players who are good at high BPM as well. So the mechanics aspects of this will be familiar to them, will be within their wheelhouse. But that big X factor always going to be Malashevsky in this matchup, I think, on a map like this. And away we will go. Every map feels so incredibly important. You get this, 6-7 maps into a best of 13 stage, and, the margins get smaller and smaller as you go. And riding that knife's edge of a 1 breakpoint advantage are Poland as they try to continue onward.
Bit of an easier section to ease players into this map. As the song builds, so too does some difficulty here. First jump slider section, first longer stream. Windowlife to miss on the stream for the United States. Rectagon also finding a miss on the jumps afterwards. This cheese slider, which basically everyone is going to slider tick cheese. And a miss from Nahus there on the side of Poland. First to fall there. Decayton and Taquito now versus just Malashevsky and Shedis as Milos also finds the drop. And Combo leads slightly back the way of the United States into his first really difficult slider section. Nobody else missing on the square stream as we get into this now kind of alt-tech hybrid section with the variable BPM. Everybody's still holding on these 4 full combos in the lobby. Malashevsky, Shedis, Decayton, and Taquito all still holding these FCs. But the accuracy is keeping Poland way ahead in this, despite combo lead slightly with the United States at the moment.
And that combo lead gone now. It's the break from Taquito. And that is going to be very, very helpful for Poland. About a third through. This map a little longer than your traditional map in this sort of style. But there goes Malashevsky as well as Milos. So the combo lead not going to be there for Poland. It is still Shedis holding the FC. But there goes Nahus as well. Rectagon to trade, fortunately for Poland. It is Windowlife versus Shedis, who has the FC still. What a crazy performance we're seeing, still holding through these unreal slider sections. And he continues to keep Poland just barely out in front. The break from Milos, but look, it's the United States building some combo back up on just about everyone. Taquito to fall. Man, what is Shedis doing? This is insane. You're not supposed to FC through this much of this map as Nahus trades, but it's with Windowlife and Taquito next. I'm just looking at the bottom right of Poland because how is this man still holding on to this full combo? It is all that stands between Poland and the United States pulling this lead back, but he's maintaining, and now it's going to grow.
Yeah, the best score that we have seen from this is a 770k from Emrek. We'll see if Shedis can match that. He's on track right now, still holding that FC. You just have to kind of admire the ridiculous level of skill cap needed to pull off an FC on this. I think he just shook off of that pattern, misses on the triple, but it's not going to matter. Score lead 140k in favor of Poland. Combo only on Rectagon and Windowlife for the United States, but it's matched by Malashevsky and Nahus. And the accuracy for those two Polish players better than anyone on the US. Malashevsky does find the miss there. It's now just Nahus with that combo matching Windowlife. But 100,000 score lead going just into the end here. It is technically possible for the USA to win this still. There's enough combo density here. Everybody's down. It's Rectagon and Windowlife to still hold this combo. Rectagon finds the drop, but it's 70k and coming towards the US. Now down to 50k already. More misses coming through for Decayton, Nahus, Taquito, Shedis. Everyone finding drops except for Windowlife, who is still holding this big combo into the end of the map. He finds the drop finally right near the end, and it's 30k. Maybe just not quite enough for the United States. Big slider stream at the end. And more misses for the US to give a 50k lead to Poland. It looked so close. It looked like it was coming. But the United States not able to clutch it out. And Poland instead hold on to the lead by the skin of their teeth.
Man, Window Life fought so hard to bring that back. He almost did enough to bring it over for the USA, but man, just not quite there into the very end. And boy, the duo carry from Shedis and from Malashevsky, 557k with that unreal near 1500 combo. Malashevsky 1 miss and the 515k score. It's just this time, instead of it being the bottom players, it was the top players. Poland had the better 2 top scorers on their side, and it was just barely what made the difference. And they hang on to the breakpoint advantage. That was, I think you would say, the scariest pick so far for Poland. Their first couple of picks, much more comfortable wins for them. That one took a little digging in those last moments, but managed to hold on. USA 5-2 down, their own pick to come. Gotta be another good one. Can't afford any sort of mistakes here if you're the USA at this juncture of this match. The pick is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if you go back into something like a tech. I don't know if you go like a Nomad 3. Do you risk tapping? Do you risk a DT1, DT2? No, it's going to be Hard Rock 2.
Wow.
Is this the first time we've seen Hard Rock 2 this weekend?
In an actual match, yes. It was played in the shell match, of course, but in an actual match, yes. This is the first time we've seen Hard Rock 2 this weekend. The Ruby of Twilight, another OS original by Cygnus, mapped by LMT. This is CS 7.15 Hard Rock Precision, 152 BPM linear aim control with a lot of triangle, triple spaced patterns. Also a lot of 1/8 bursts in this map. Usually a 5-note burst at 1/8, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means in OS mapping terms, usually 150 BPM space streams with some stacked bursts in the middle that are 304 BPM.
Yeah, when we were doing some prep last night, you know, neither of us, of course, having seen it in a match since it hadn't been played in a match, had to take an extra deep look at this one, and I think we were a little taken aback by what we saw at times. The finger control, aim control combination that is required out of this pick. You know, there's a couple times where you have those 1/8 bursts, and they aren't followed by a slider. They're just followed by like normal beats that you have to tap as if you were just continuing onward. The finger control required to play that properly is absolutely absurd, and that's to say nothing about the fact that it's CS 7.15. Like, just the sheer difficulty of so many different facets of this map that may not be readily obvious. It's incredibly high, and you know, it's the type of thing where I almost wonder, because United States, you expect this pick into precision because of Bashi. We'll see if he comes in for this. That tapping might be a little rough for him. The precision specialist, not a tapping specialist. I'm curious to see how that goes for him. But hey, they won the Hard Rock 3. I get continuing in the Hard Rock pool at the very least.
Yeah, and it's not going to be Bashi indeed. It's going to be Takedo instead to come in here. Once again, 4 good Hard Rock players for the United States: Takedo, Decaton, Rectagon, and Window Life. And it seems they're going to place their bets on the Hard Rock pool for this match. Down 5-2. Hinted at this a little bit earlier, Aaron, but I'll say the quiet part out loud for chat. If you lose this, Poland has next pick, and they're up match point 6-2. So the United States, this pick is incredibly important. If you give up another break point from here, you probably lose the match. So the United States needs to lock in on all of their picks. They also need to still take back that break point that they lost early on in the match on that Nomad 5 pick. Poland looking for this break point, looking for a quick closeout to this match. Milosh, Nahus, Malashevsky, and Shedis in for them to try and make that quick end a reality. Early break for a few people. Takedo, Nahus, and Decaton all finding those very early breaks. As we get into some Osu for Ants, CS 7.15 looks smaller than usual. That's because it is. More misses coming through. Window Life and Shedis also finding the breaks. It's just Rectagon for the United States already up against both Milosh and Malashevsky, still holding those FCs. Who's dropping that reverse choke is good for the US, but so many lost combos already. There goes Milosh, and now it's just the 2-star players for each team. Malashevsky and Rectigon holding on to the FCs, and Malashevsky is down. Rectigon now, time to shine as the Hard Rock player for the United States, the best Hard Rock player in North America.
And he has been such a key performer. What happened? I am gonna bet, and I'm gonna bet his game just stuttered. I would bet anything his game just stuttered there. That's exactly what that looked like. That is really, really unfortunate, as Rectigon had that lone FC left in the lobby. That looked for all the world like his game stuttering or lagging. And now it's just even pretty much across the board. Combo advantage just bit to Poland with Milosh and Malashevsky having recovered. And as we get to the halfway mark, it's still such a slim margin of only 25K. But the combo lead gonna fall as there goes Milosh, and that score gap might just go back the way of the United States. Rectigon recovering the combo as well as Taquito building back up. Nahus to fall next, and it looks like the score might finally go the way of the United States. Rectigon, despite the hiccup, as you said, has been the Hard Rock player of North America for years. His precision skill level so incredibly high, and his ability to clutch up in some of these really intense situations has been there time and time again, as well as he and Taquito continue carrying onward. I don't know. I'm just, that was Window Life.
It's a misread in the slow section. Happens to the best of us. And yeah, Rectigon actually had complained about the same thing happening on the last pick. His game just stuttered for 10 seconds at the beginning of the map. Malashevsky misses on the 1/8 burst. That random 300 BPM burst in the slow section catches him off, and now Rectigon, the only big combo in the map going into the ending here. Taquito had also found the break during that slower section. It just has those 300 BPM bursts in the slow section as well. This now the most difficult section of the map, but the damage is done. 220k like nothing for the United States. Instantly moves over to their side as Rectigon is going to clutch up a ridiculous 615k on this Hard Rock 2. Despite the early map stutters, he's going to find the best score in the lobby by over 100,000 points over Malashevsky's 514k himself. And the rest of the lobby also quite good for the United States. Look at some scores just comparing. Taquito 440k, Decaton 400k, both better than anyone else on the side of Team Poland. And even Window Life's 350k still outscoring both of the bottom two scores on the side of Poland, only outdone by Shedis' 360k. So that was really a win across the board for the United States, not just Rectigon over Malashevsky. That's the cherry on top for sure, but across the board, better for the United States on that Hard Rock 2. And I think they may have found some footing here on these Hard Rock picks. We'll see if they continue on with that Hard Rock 1 as their next pick. For now, a brief respite for the United States. No match point quite yet as Poland move into their own next pick. Seeing where they want to go. Nomad 3 looks, I think, probably a bit enticing to this Polish roster after how the rest of these more aim control focused picks have gone. We'll see if that's where they want to go, or if they instead dip into something like the Freemod 2 or Freemod 3, or if they themselves want to pick tapping instead.
Yeah, I think, to me, it almost says Freemod 2 here. I think the Nomad 3 just is has a lot of variability in what kind of scores you might get on it. There's so many just unbelievably challenging patterns in that map that you might hit one run, miss the next 3 runs in a row. You just don't know what's going to happen. And at this stage of a match, I don't know if you want to run that kind of risk when you're still holding the breakpoint. And there indeed is going to be the Freemod 2. It just kind of makes sense here. Relatively aim-focused anti-mod pick. Poland looked good on the low AR, on that Nomad 5, right? They've looked good on all the aim kind of consistency sorts of maps that we've seen in the match as well. So I think going into this pick, which is probably a little bit more reliable score-wise, makes a whole lot of sense for them. And it's just going to feel a little bit safer as well, I think, in terms of your performances being more likely to live up to what you got in practice than a map like that Nomad 3 may have. And to touch on one other thing that you briefly mentioned, the tapping, it feels like other than the one tapping ban of DT3, we're just kind of handshaking. Like, nobody has picked DT1, DT2, Fremod 1. They're just there in the pool, and I don't know if we'll see them at all because both these teams are so good at that skill set. So we just continue to kind of avoid them. We're making a little boundary around them and saying, do not touch.
Yeah, not a single tapping pick so far. It does feel like at some point we're gonna have to dip into it, and I'm really interested to see how that turns out. Although I guess at the end of everything, yeah, because even if you pick exclusively non-tapping maps from here on out, the only one left is really the Hard Rock 1. Fremod 3 is somewhat of a speed pick. Fremod 1 is a stream map, and then there's just the DTs left. So we're going to have to dip into it at some point here, if not just for the last pick of the match. Poland here looking to take advantage of their solid aim, solid reading roster. United States, of course, favored on precision, as we just saw. It's looking like, honestly, I think kind of a scary pick for both of these teams. Like, sure, Poland has a really good both reading and aim roster, but USA, especially on an anti-mod aim pick like this Fremod 2, I really like Rectagon for precision. Decayton can also take the Hard Rock and allow Rectagon to go no mod potentially. Ooh. That is a preference Hard Rock for Decayton, actually. Well, Decayton and Rectagon, really. So double Hard Rock for the United States. That is a bold strategy. Hidden for Ethan Tricks, no mod for Bashiman. Double no mod, of course, for Milosh and Shari Tori on the side of Poland. Hard Rock for Kosierek and Hidden for Malashevsky. Trying to get to match point here for Poland, not wanting to give up that early break point they took on the Nomad 5. Let's see how this map works out for them, T1G. I'm really curious how this double Hard Rock will go for the United States, because I can see it working. I can also see it on an aim pick like this really backfiring too. Right now, it's working out very well. Early misses for Malashevsky and Shari Tori really hurting the team score for Poland.
Yeah, and, you know, this is decently long. It's 3 minutes and pretty consistent in mapping style. So, you know, those early couple breaks aren't going to be the end of the world, but the longer the United States continues to hold the four-way, obviously, the more that score gap is going to grow. And you see the breaks coming through again from Shari Tori. A little bit of a struggle there in those early stages, continuing to fall. There go Kosierek and Malashevsky as well. It's down to just Milosh, the only combo on Poland. That's not even an FC. He broke right at the start. Meanwhile, the United States has only just now, a third of the way in, had their first break, and it's Rectagon. Meanwhile, Bashi, Ethan, and Decayton also on the FCs. 200k the lead for the United States, and this is feeling like it might be the opportunity that they really need to grab. They need to hold on to this advantage, and they're going to have a little trouble doing that as they triple reset with Bashi the only one holding on. Fortunately for United States, Bashi is basically matching the sum combo of Poland, but he needs to hold. The breaks coming out all over the place as the map just does not get any easier. It is all of the weight on the shoulders of Bashi, man. He has had heroics in the past. Can he do it again here today with Shari Tori, Malashevsky, and Kosierek all hot on his heels?
Yeah, putting aside Bashi's very first OWC, he has been one of their most consistent members at coming in for a single map or two in a pool and just top scoring for the weekend and then leaving mic drop, and he's looking to do that here as well. Still holding on to the Nomad FC right now. My mind goes back to OWC 2023, where in grand finals he came in on Fremod 2 versus South Korea to hold onto the FC and keep them in the match. He's gonna have to do that here, though. There's just no combo anywhere on the United States. Malashevsky, Shari Tori, and Milosh all have big combo for Poland, and this score lead is starting to go back their way, but there goes Malashevsky, misses on the hidden. Shari Tori and Milosh now matching the combo from Bashiman and keeping this pretty much dead even at 100k. If Bashi misses, this still can go back, but there's a miss from Shari Tori, and I think that's the end of the map, and Bashi Man once again comes in for one map, comes in for the Fremod 2, pulls out an absolutely ridiculous score, and brings back a lost breakpoint for the United States, 340k nearly in their favor with the Nomad FC from Boshiman. How does he do it?
Boshiman don't get no help. Boshiman don't want no help. Boshiman don't need no help. What a performance there. He just clutches up for the United States, man. What a performance. He was so ready, and he showed up when they needed him most. And now the break point is gone. If the United States can win their own pick here, it is 5-5, 1 pick left per team. Osu World Cup Winners Finals. I mean, you cannot write a better script if that is how this keeps going. United States has to have another good pick here, though. The advantage of first pick that Poland has in this match is such they will have that match point if they can win this. Where do you go? You got one Hard Rock left that I don't think you want very badly in that Hard Rock one. You got that Nomad 3 that I don't know how you feel about that either. DT1, DT2, Free Mod 1, as mentioned, the tapping maps in this pool available to you. Nothing feels good, nothing feels bad, everything feels coin flip. This is a scary, scary spot in the match for both teams, everyone involved.
Yeah, and even that last map down there in the bottom right, Free Mod 3, is also this kind of hybrid tapping and aim control pick right at 250 BPM, so kind of everything is either tapping or very aim control-y, and we're going to go with tapping. We're going to go with the lowest BPM, highest flow aim option in the Free Mod 1, 200 BPM Space Streams Arcadia by Baby Metal, mapped by Karcher. This is very recently, I think, ranked, actually. It might have been ranked right before the start of this weekend, if not still in qualified. Just under 8 stars, no mod. So well over 8 stars with Hard Rock. This is a flow aim stream farm map, potential PP record sort of map at OD10 as well. If you've played Stream Farm, you pretty much know the deal with this. It's a lot of length bonus with a ton of circle streams kind of all throughout the map, as well as some really, really high spacing during the key eye times for some really, really difficult spikes in this map. And Hard Rock is definitely the hardest mod on this, right? This is one where your Hard Rock player either has to be God or they're just tanking the Hard Rock so that the rest of your team can go and get good scores on this map. No mod is definitely easiest. Hidden is still hard because it's a flow aim map for sure, but not nearly so difficult as the Hard Rock. I think you're just looking at the core roster for Poland. You're looking at probably Kosturek to come in as the last player here for this team. Maybe we see a tapping specialist come in for Poland like Rapis, but likely just Kosturek. United States, I think you're just looking at Rectagon, potentially somebody like Taquito, Pez, could also be a Decaton sort of map as well. There's a few people who could come in for this. Window Life is the one that I'm forgetting there for the United States, who really should be in for this map as well.
I think safe to say that this is the type of map, and this is why we waited so long before we saw a pick like this, that both of these teams have a roster for, in fact have almost an excess of players for, because there's people not in this lobby currently that could probably play this and do quite well on it. Somebody like Pez comes to mind. Tio is in, but somebody like Pez comes to mind, at least for the United States. Not in, but could probably play this. So it's
Poland.
Kosturek for Poland. Yep, it's a scary spot to be in for both teams, I think. And this is just the type of map that another one that can go either way, and for a different sort of reason than some of the others. Of course, we've seen this twice so far this weekend. It was Canada's last pick to eliminate South Korea, and then it was the first pick for Australia winning it against Canada. So it's been an interesting narrative map so far when it has been played, and we'll see if that continues, because as we said, this can get us to 5-5. This can get us to 1 pick left per team. This can get us alternatively to Poland holding match point on their own last pick. And as you said, Dio, it is a challenging flow test. The spacing of these streams at the high points of the map is gargantuan. Hard Rock players, I wish you the best of luck. Even Nomad players and Hidden players who might have preference there, I wish you luck as well. Early break from Nahus just to get things going.
This is now combo lead at the very start of the map for the United States. Another break for Nahus there. A 400 combo into the map, and that much of a combo lead for the United States with just Nahus down out of everyone in the lobby. Everybody else still holding on to those full combos. It's kind of what you expect here at the start. That first section is somewhat difficult, and then this part is relatively simple in comparison to basically everything else we are going to see in the rest of this map. So this is the part where you are really supposed to build that combo, hold on to good accuracy, not shit miss. Do not find a random miss on air during this slow, easy section, during this much lower spacing section. Keep building that combo up into this first PI time. Before the drop hits, before the combos start dropping like flies during these harder sections, here's the first big stream in this map, especially for those Hard Rock players. The spacing, even during this build-up, can be really, really tough. Now into that first PI time, as everybody's still holding on to these combos, and the lobby crests 1,000 by 7 in this first chorus. Everyone's still holding on from their either beginning of the match or the first break. There goes Nahus, does find that break for Poland. Koipumi, Rektion, Taquito also finding these breaks. So 4 players down, both Hard Rocks down, both Hiddens down, all Nomads still left standing for both of these teams. 4 full combos during this last big stream. There goes Tori for Poland. It's Window Life indicating for the United States. Malashevsky for Poland. We get through the end of that first PI time. Window Life falls on the very last stream, and it's a 1v1. Malashevsky versus Decaton halfway into the map.
And who would have thought, again, for the United States, is Decaton trying to come through in the clutch. Malashevsky doing what he has done time and time again. As the brakes fall around him, he continues to hold, as does Decaton as well. It's Rektion Taquito following that combo lead, going the way of Poland now. You have Milos, you have Tori building back up into this solo section. The spacing is ridiculous. Look at those circle streams go, and the whole lobby continues to hit into some aim, as well as Decaton to fall. And Malashevsky, the lone FC, now in the lobby. 1/3 of the map left to go. Malashevsky, for your faith and for your life, hold like your life depends on it.
This is always the nightmare scenario for the United States. You have, honestly, really solid scores for basically everyone. Your Hard Rock player is outdoing theirs, or rather, your Hidden player is outdoing theirs, but it's Malashevsky holding onto the FC. It's big combo as well on 2 other players. Milosh and Tori, the Hard Rock player and the second Nomad, both still holding really good combos for Poland. Even if Malashevsky misses, this does not necessarily go back to the US. There goes everyone on Poland, though! They all chain miss at the end of the map, and suddenly the nightmare turns to a dream for the United States. This scenario is exactly what they needed, a full 3-way reset for all of the big combos on a chain miss at that. And there goes the 4th for Nahus as well. Nobody on Poland left standing after this last PI time, and everyone for the United States clutching up when it matters the most. Best tournament player in the world can only help you so far along in a match, as the United States full 500k on this Fremont 1. Every single player popping off, finding big combo here. 1k plus on 3 members coming into the ending. And they are going to tie it up 5-5. No match point for Poland. Breakpoint found on the previous map, and successful pick here in the Fremont 1 to bring us both teams' last picks as close as it gets in the winners finals.
We have said for years on end, the United States' strength is in its team-wide performance, their ability to have combo somewhere on somebody, and this time it was on everyone. For the United States, after being down in the map, after being down in the match, it might just be no more tears. It might just be no more pain. Finally, the comeback has been completed to tie the match up. This is what dreams are made of, and for somebody it might just be what nightmares are made of on the other side of 2 remaining picks. 1 map per team, a possible tiebreaker awaiting on the other side as well. This is the absolute peak that you could have possibly hoped for in this match, and there's only the question remaining: what will those two remaining maps be, and who can show up in the most anxiety-filled situation, the nerves at the absolute pinnacle that they will ever be? Who will be the heroes of these two, possibly even three remaining maps? That is going to be where we will find ourselves soon. Poland's pick, Dio. Do you finally opt into... Yes, you do. You finally opt into a double time. It's DT1. I was gonna say, do you opt into one of these DTs? It's Epiphany. Last night, MREC set the OWC PP record with an FC on this map. And now we've got two teams full of tapping players set up for an unbelievably cinematic conclusion to this match.
I am so excited to see how this goes. We have been avoiding tapping this entire time, handshaking this skill set the entire way through this match, just neither team wanting to pick it for fear that the other will beat them out on it. I'm just so excited to see how this goes. You have some really, really solid players for tapping and speed on both of these rosters. But the thing is, we haven't seen some of them. Rafis, I think you expect to see in on a map like this, right? He has not played a single map so far. Probably going to see Shari Tori in on this instead for Poland, if I had to guess, as their fourth player, as Milosh, Nahus, and Malashevsky all staying in once again on this one. And that is still a really, really scary roster on a DT pick like this sort of hybrid DNB aim and speed and flow aim pick all at once. Alongside that AR 10.5 high AR, this is also 4.5 minutes after double time. It is 7 minutes no mod. So this is a very, very long, consistent, difficult pick in a variety of ways. United States, you're looking at probably Rectagon, you're looking at probably Taquito, you're looking at probably Window Life, looking at probably Pez on this map. Waiting on Rectagon probably as their last member here, and there's another very scary roster on the right side of the screen for the United States on this speed pick. I mean, this is not an easy map by any means, but I look at all of these players and I think, yeah, every single one of these players in this lobby right now could put up a really, really good score on a map like this. Taquito, traditionally thought of as a hidden and tech player, has for the last multiple years in a row really been grinding the speed, and he has blossomed into someone who is incredibly good at this style of map in particular. So this is a scary pick for anyone in this lobby right now. Rafis, Nahus, Milosh, and Malashevsky versus Rectagon, Window Life, Taquito, and Pez. Poland's last pick in the DT1, the first speed map we have seen all match long. They stake match point on this DT1.
We go.
That's a very early couple of misses actually for Rafis. First map of the match for him. Can't help but be a little concerned he may have some nerves coming into this map. Another early miss for Window Life and Nahus, followed by another miss for Rafis. So 3 full combos for the United States after the intro section is over. Rectagon, Taquito, Pez versus Milosh and Malashevsky.
Who can hold their nerve? That's what this map has come down to. We've seen shakes, we've seen struggles, we've seen difficulties. You hold those FCs, 1,000, 12, 1,400, 1,500 combo. It's just the nerve. As we go back in, it's only a quarter of the way through. This map is just so long. And it's so long in such a different way. We go back to back with very lengthy maps with totally different hype levels. There go Taquito and Pez. And with 800 combo on both Malashevsky and Milosh, that double FC versus the single FC on Rectagon is going to be meaningful. But that's all the combo that Poland has. So it's Rectagon, recovery combo with Window Life, and we'll see what Takedo and Pez can recover as Nahus and Rafis try to do the same thing. The score is just sitting in the middle there.
It's moving ever so slowly the way of Poland. Another miss for Rafis is going to even things out, I think. Maybe bring it over to the US. There goes Takedo. Only about 300 combo dropped for the United States there, though. It's not one of those big combos. Rectagon and Window Life with those big combos for the United States. Pez helping to keep things pretty even against that double FC from Milosh and Malashevsky on the bottom row. Another miss comes through for Rafis. Despite the shakes, despite the consistent misses for Rafis, he is keeping that accuracy up, which is at least keeping that score somewhat even with these bottom scores for the United States. It's once again just the bottom scores giving the extra score for the United States. 270k, 280k there for Takedo and Pez, over the 260k and 220k for Nahus and Rafis. But the double FC for Poland is keeping them out ahead just barely. I mean, less than 25k, Aaron. This is really, really cool. Look at the ending.
There.
Misses during the slow section, and now full combo down for Poland. In the United States, Rectagon matching Malashevsky. Window Life, uncontested, 1100 combo. Nahus, yes, has about 700, but it's matched by Pez on the opposite side for the United States, and Window Life now is just bringing the score lead right back over to the United States. How long can they hold?
This is danger now for Poland on this pick. Malashevsky must hold on. Nahus must hold on. Rectagon matching Window Life and Takedo on those big combos. Yes, Pez fell. There goes Rectagon, though. FC down. Takedo down as well. And now it is Malashevsky with the FC. Nahus with the near 1,000 combo. Window Life, all that's left standing for the United States. And he falls as well. And now it's Poland off to the races. The score lead goes back the other way. Shades of Friday Night Canada, South Korea, where everyone struggled in the ending. But look what Poland is doing. They have Malashevsky still standing on the FC. Nahus, Rafis breaking be damned. It's Malashevsky, the hero of Poland, to bring this train into the station on the DT1 pick to try to give Poland the only match point that either team will see. And it is up to 170k by the time he finally falls, but it's job done for the greatest tournament player in this match. A top 2 tournament player in the world has done his duty once more, and it will be Poland taking the 6-5 lead. The match point will be going into the United States' final pick of this match. What a scenario, what a setting, what cinema we have on our hands from the jaws, the claws of defeat. You just never knew which way it was going to go, but Malashevsky said, I am the director of this particular show, and I am going to lead us to victory, and Poland will have one match point and one match point only.
They're going to have to make good on that match point. This is a really precarious situation for Poland. Yes, they have the match point, but if they lose this next pick, it goes right to tiebreaker, and it is the United States pick, and they're going to go with Hard Rock 1. They've saved that last Hard Rock, actually. We were unsure if this was going to get picked at all. There's been a lot of talk from the players about potentially not wanting to see this map, potentially not wanting to play this map, but here it is for the United States. 2 out of 2 Hard Rocks have gone their way, and they're going to try for 3 out of 3 on Kagare Nakayume by Azriel, custom mapped by Beom-san. This is a less straightforward Hard Rock aim pick. Very aim control, kick slider, jump focused, with a lot of kind of extras going on in this map as compared to what you might think of when you hear this song, the old loved sets by Setia with big jumps and a big stream spike. This one much more consistent in difficulty throughout, with a lot more modern of a mapping take, inspired by a lot of modern Korean mappers. Of course, Beom-san also one of those modern Korean mappers. It's a really, really tricky pick that is both consistent in difficulty and not super straightforward for an aim map. And I think that's good for a team that wants to abuse their strength on a particular mod. You don't want it to be a super straightforward pick, right? If you're that much better on the mod overall, you want it to be a map that is not all that accessible to people who aren't good at Hard Rock. So something like this that's not quite as straightforward, I think, is a really, really solid pick for the United States. And, I mean, Aaron, we have to address the elephant in the room, right? If USA wins this, they get to tiebreaker. They're hoping to win this match through the tiebreaker. Poland hoping to close this out before we get to that tiebreaker scenario. Take the break point here on Hard Rock and on Hard Rock 1 and send the United States packing to that losers bracket final against Australia. That's the stakes here. We haven't talked all that much about it. The winner of this is guaranteed top 2, also guaranteed winner's bracket advantage in the actual grand finals, the match that is truly for all the marbles. Having that extra winner's bracket advantage is very, very important there in that match. But even more important potentially is not having to face off against Australia. MREC Box on that grand finals pool is a deadly combination of players you do not want to face off against. You do not want to risk losing this tournament third place rather than just being guaranteed top 2 on the podium with a win here. Huge stakes in this map and every other one going forward for both of these teams. If the United States win this, they get to tiebreaker and have the opportunity to keep their top 2 guaranteed hopes alive and break into the winners bracket grand finals. If Poland win this, they deny them that opportunity and claim that guaranteed top 2 spot and winners bracket advantage for themselves into the Hard Rock 1. Miloš, Nahus, Sharitori, and Malashevsky in for Poland to try to take that break point. Some early misses there for Nahus and Sharitori. Decaton, Window Life, Pez, and Rectigon in for the United States. Some very, very early misses from Pez, alongside some other early misses for Decaton and Window Life to start things off.
What a path to take through the late stages of this match. As we see those couple of early breaks coming in, you go back to back to back 5-minute long maps, and that's not even including the tiebreaker. The nerves stress and the stress on your endurance as a tournament player being tested to their absolute utmost. About all you could do beyond that is a grand finals with bracket reset. This is a pretty crazy amount of Osu to be playing at this level of nerves, at this level of competition, and you can maybe see some shakes here and there affecting some players, right? Miloš and Nahus breaking, Sharitori to fall, as well as Window Life and Pez. Guess who's holding the lone FC for Poland, of course? Rectigon, of course, the one from the United States matching. It's like we just rewrite the same story time and time again. The only difference is what the outcome might end up being. You go back to 2017, you see Poland taking out the United States in the winners bracket final on a tiebreaker, looking to do one map better here today as Rectigon drops that remaining FC for the United States, the lead in their favor by a small margin thanks to all the rest of the combo. But Malashevsky on the FC, because of course he is. Who else would it be? If you're gonna try to bring this one home, you want Malashevsky to be the one to do it. And Decaton falling next to the United States means that even with that Sharitori break, Poland should be able to bring this gap over, although that is a big chain miss, that is some score dropped. There goes Nahus as well. Yo, this is just going to get crazy. It's got to be Malashevsky. It has to continue to be Malashevsky. How long can he hold and how much work can he put in as his teammates just continue to fall around him?
It's just the FC for Malashevsky, and it is a sea of combos for the United States. Window like Pez, Rectigon, Decaton, all holding, and there goes Malashevsky. No. They were basically matching the FC with their powers combined, and the power of friendship holding them on in this Hard Rock 1. Misses all over the place for everyone. One by one they fall, but one by one they build back up. And that build-up is what gives them the score lead here by nearly 100k. Another miss for Decaton here. Coming into this slow section right before a diff spike in this Hard Rock 1. But big combo lead for the United States. Big score lead as well. 100k score lead. Usually not that much, but with a map this difficult, with the scores this low overall, only about 1 million team score for each of these squads, 100,000 score lead is quite significant. We're going to get another big diff spike here in the middle of the map. Miloš, Sharitori, Nahus all breaking. Pez finding the drop. Decaton finding the drop. Malashevsky, Window Life, and Rectigon to hold, but the combos there lopsided in favor of the United States. And it's not going to be the solo carry performance for Malashevsky. It's not going to be Poland's hero to clutch out the win for them on this map. Instead, it's going to be Window Life. It's going to be Rectigon clutching out for the United States, bringing these big combos into the last quarter of the map and securing tiebreaker for the team with a 10-year history of excellence. A team that since 2015 has never once missed the top two. T1G, if they win this tiebreaker now, they're guaranteeing an 11th year in a row of top two finishes for the United States. Poland looking to play spoiler to that at the end of this match. We'll see if they're able to do it. This is the closest matchup of the weekend. I think the winners finals that everyone was hoping for. We're going to tiebreaker Gumbarzo by TPazolite.
And what more could you possibly ask for? I mean, from the very moment the teams were assembled and the rosters were announced, the predictions started coming in. Oh, it's Poland, it's United States, it's Australia. They're the top three teams in this tournament. Poland, United States, seed 1 and 2 on a collision course to this winners final. Just direct path from the start. We have been aimed at this moment, and here we have finally reached it. United States 300K victory on the Hard Rock 1 to force tiebreaker in the winners final. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head when the last time was we had a winners final tiebreaker. I think it's been 3 or 4 years at minimum. But it's what everybody hopes for out of this match. Incredible Osu original track by TPazolite. Incredible collaborative map from a host of incredibly well-known mappers. And a pair of teams that have been lighting up our screens for the last hour and a half now through these 12 maps. And we have to play one more. It's a best of 13 after all, and we're getting that map number 13. Gumbarzo to both teams. And man, oh man, Dio, it's a tech tiebreaker, and one of these teams has Malashevsky.
It is a tech tiebreaker, and there is Malashevsky on one side, but honestly, I don't know that that's all there is to this matchup on this tiebreaker. There's quite a lot of other stuff going on in this map. There's a ton of really difficult speed patterning in this map. There's a ton of difficult aim patterning in this as well. There's some alt breakdown sections in this map. It is really, really tough in a multitude of ways. It's not just the tech, that is definitely a part of it, but there's a multitude of different reasons this is difficult. And I went ahead and checked out when was the last time we had a tiebreaker in the winners bracket finals. That was all the way back in 2021, 4 years ago. United States versus Germany in that winners bracket finals. It has been indeed a very long time since we have seen that winners bracket finals tiebreaker back here again in the OS World Cup. I'm really excited for this. We've got two really, really strong rosters for this map. I am looking forward to seeing just what kind of scores they can put up on it. Obviously, you're looking at Malashevsky on the side of Poland, but you're also looking at the rest of this core roster, right? Likely to see Nahus and Milosh in, and I think also likely to see Shari Tori in, not just because Malashevsky is asking to move them, but because they have been in on a lot of the kind of multi-skill, somewhat speed, somewhat tech maps in this pool already. The United States, I'd be surprised not to see Rectigon, not to see Decaton, who has been popping off in this match, not to see Window Light, who has been doing a really solid job for the United States this match as well. As for the fourth player, I mean, I think you're probably looking at Taquito, but it really could be any number of players on this team.
So much at this stage, I feel, just comes down to in the moment. You've played 12 maps, you know everything there is to know about what your team is capable of, how everyone on the team is feeling on the day. Really, all that's left is to just try to calm the nerves as best you can and get on with it. You just plunge forward into that unknown depths in front of you of the tiebreaker that's 6 minutes long, and you just hope that you come out on top on the other side. There is a little more to it than that at this stage of things. We're less relying on raw data, on statistics. We're just going for pure, in-the-moment joy in playing and excitement in playing and viewing. and that is really about all there is going to be to it. And I have to hesitate to think that either Caleb or Ethan is going to be in for this, hanging out in the lobby during this timeout while everyone is maybe looking at parts of the map and getting themselves mentally and physically prepared. Oh man, it's a collective deep breath for the 8 players in the lobby, for us in the booth, for the 10,000 people watching, because it is not going to let up once this gets going until we have a winner of this match and somebody onward into the top 2 of the tournament.
And it looks like there we go. Rosters set for both of these teams. Not going to be Shari Tori, going to be Shedis instead. And a very different roster, I think, for the United States as, yeah, never mind. Going to be Ethan swapping out, going to be Pez swapping out. And there's the roster I think we expected to see on this tiebreaker for the United States.
Anticipated.
Oh, bait and switch. I went ahead and looked because I was a little bit curious. It's been a few years since we've seen the United States win a winners finals as well. Any guesses as to when the last time that might have been, C1G? It was 2021. It was the winners finals in 2021 where they won through tiebreaker. They have not won a winners finals since, either by virtue of not being in the winners finals or losing to South Korea last year. The first year since 2021 that they were back in the winners finals. Let's see if they can find the win in tiebreaker once again here for the United States. Once again, the USA, a team that for the last 10 years in a row, a full decade, has not placed outside the top 2. 8 wins and 2 second places in the OS World Cup. If Poland win this match here, they send the United States to the losers bracket finals, where that 10-year streak of top 2 finishes is at risk once again against Australia in that losers bracket finals. Here we go. It's Gumbazo by T-Pazolite, the tiebreaker between the number 1 and number 2 seeds in the tournament in winners finals, Poland versus the United States. Milosh, Nahus, Shedis, and Malashevsky for Poland. Just some early misses there for Milosh so far. Taquito, Rectagon, Window Life, Decaton for the United States. Some early misses for Rectagon and Window Life. The score lead ever so slightly in the USA's favor off the accuracy for now.
And for now is really the operative phrase there, as you see the breaks to come from Taquito and Rectagon on those back and forth sliders. That'll give the advantage over to Poland. Again, for now, for the moment. It's 6 minutes. It's a long one. Nothing is going to be set in stone for quite some time. But as you see breaks kind of piling up, you wonder how things are going to go the rest of the way. Taquito notably on that preference hidden mod. We know he's a hidden player. The risk is there. Window Life the next to fall as well. It is down to just Decaton with the FC. Meanwhile, Poland, they've got Malashevsky, Shedis, and Nahus with Milosh on a solid recovery combo. This map is starting off pretty dang well for Poland, if I do say so myself. 54k the lead, but a pretty sizable combo advantage going their way through 1/4 of the map. 25% of the way through, several minutes still to go. Let's see how long they can hold. Let's see what kind of lead they can build.
And it's early days, but this is a little concerning for me because this map has some really unhittable sections near the end. Luckily for Milosh, that miss doesn't matter all that much. That's a rather unfortunate slider break, but there's some really unhittable sections of this map. When we get to some of the really tricky tech sections and the alt sections later on in this map, this goes from hard to impossible, and these early misses for the United States dropping these big combos is not what you want to see when you know those sections are coming up. Poland still with now just 1 full combo on Nahus. Reverse choke from Shedis, now not a reverse choke as well. Finds the break there. Malashevsky down. That full combo over. But there's not that big of a combo lead, and Decaton drops the 1 remaining FC for the United States as well. It's now just Window Life with combo for the US. Nahus with that FC still intact for Poland, and yeah, there's not much combo basically anywhere else on Poland, but unfortunately for the US, it's still combo deficit for them. Nahus still holding on to this FC. There goes Nahus though. Window Life and Rectagon both still holding as they start to bring this back, but Window Life now dropping during this first ridiculous tech section. This is is the first of those really tough sections that I was talking about. You can see the ramp up in difficulty in this section as these sliders just do not stop. It is so tough to be consistent on this, and the buildup of combo for Poland has really taken this United States roster a bit by surprise. Big combo on Milosh, big combo on Malashevsky. Shed is all still holding these big combos into this breakdown section, and these sliders can be really tough to deal with. Everyone on the USA breaking besides Rectigon, and Poland, 3 members holding. This is building and building in their favor. They finally find the 4-way reset, but so too does the United States, and that is the problem with those early combo breaks for the United States, is you come up halfway into the map and this section hits and everyone falls.
It's the 8-way reset into this moment of the map, and that works in Poland's favor. 150k their way. More breaks to come. Let's see if Rectigon and Windowlife can build up, and the answer is quickly going to be an emphatic no. So many, as you said, unhittable patterns strewn throughout the back half of this map, and just watch the players fail to build up combo anywhere. You get a lead your way in the first half of this map, and it almost feels over already. It's 170k with a quarter to go, but where is the United States possibly going to find that score? Poland's work was done in the first 2-3 minutes of this map. The United States is on a hope and a prayer at this stage because they simply don't have the opportunities to bring it back with this long, quiet part. You're building up combo as best you can, but look at the amount of score that would have to come back. It's looking like it's not going to be nearly enough time, nearly enough combo, and Poland, they're going to harken back to 2017 because this is exactly what happened there. History is writing over itself. Time is a flat circle. Winners Final 2017, Poland against United States. On tiebreaker, Poland wins. 2025, we find ourselves in the same setting. Poland, United States, winners bracket final, all the way to tiebreaker. 150k into the last moment. I think it's about all done here. Rectigon, Decate, and Windowlife doing what they can into the ending.
Even with these combos for Rectigon and Decate, it just does not seem like it's going to be enough. There are more misses coming through from Poland, but 120k at this stage of a tiebreaker is just too much to bear. And indeed, the ending will be too much to bear for the United States. Rectigon and Decate finding those drops, and it is a harken back to 2017, but it is also a modern twist on it. The 2 players top scoring the tiebreaker, also the 2 players expected to do wonders for Poland this year. Malashevsky with the top score on the tiebreaker, a modern marvel for Poland, not just in the OS World Cup, but in tournaments in general, along with Nahu's 400k, the only other 400k score in this lobby. Those 2 helping keep Poland ahead in this tiebreaker, and keeping the USA's winners finals loss streak now intact. They will not repeat their tiebreaker win from 2021. Instead, it will be a repeat for Poland 2017. Back again in the winners finals for Poland, back to the tiebreaker for Poland, and back to the grand finals through winners bracket for Team Poland. The number 1 seed in the OS World Cup 2025 makes it to the grand finals. And Aaron, qualifiers for this year, potentially the most accurate qualifiers among the top 6 that we have ever had. Seed number 1 is in grand finals through the winners bracket. Seed number 2 lost winners finals, and so is still technically number 2 right now. Seed number 3 is waiting for that second seed in the losers bracket finals. Seed number 4, actually 4th place overall in the tournament throughout this weekend. Seeds 5 and 6 also in the top 6 through this weekend. It is a ridiculously chalked qualifiers bracket here in the OS World Cup finals, and it is a super exciting grand finals ahead of us. Poland winning that matchup in tiebreaker. The USA versus Australia, our first match of the weekend, next weekend, with Poland awaiting the victor in the grand finals with that winner's bracket advantage. You can't help but be excited after how close that match was and after how good Australia looked in the losers bracket this weekend.
It's a rematch. 2024 losers bracket final. Australia, USA. Also, all the way straight to tiebreaker, if you recall. Required some heroics from MREC to get them there, some great team-wide performances, and they still fell just short. The desire for vengeance for Australia, maybe, just maybe, could bring them over that next step. United States swept them a week ago, but going from semifinals pool to grand finals pool is going to be a big, big difference. The best player in the world, the highest skill cap player in the world, awaiting in that loser spot for this United States team that continues to look just ever so slightly, just enough vulnerable to lose these matches by the barest margin. But that's all you need. The barest of margin. When the bracket goes straight chalk, the gaps are never going to be huge. And we've seen that now. This is this match of the tournament. I think you can't really look at anything else as having been a more back and forth, a bigger battle than this one was. And we still have some incredible grand finals matches awaiting us. I am so excited for next week. It's going to be magical. It's going to be cinema.
I'm looking forward to it for sure. I think everybody else watching is, and you won't want to go away, because if you're interested in that grand finals, if you want to see the maps for the USA versus Australia in the losers bracket, for the winner of that match versus Poland in the grand finals, we have exactly what you're looking for coming up in 10 minutes. 20 UTC, 10 minutes from now, going to be the grand finals map pool showcase for the OS World Cup 2025. This is the last one. This is the big reveal. You do not want to miss this showcase. Congratulations once again to Poland. Good luck to the United States in the losers bracket. Good luck to Australia in that match as well. And we will see you all back here in 10 minutes for the very last map pool showcase of the OS World Cup 2025.
I'm a dreamy MC with a technique, with a technique, with a technique, with a technique.